Alrighty, welcome guys to another episode of the One Last Cast podcast. My name is Jonathan. How's everybody doing today? Um, good to see you, Nick. You're out there. Another Nick. I'm glad everybody could join us. This is episode 11, and this topic actually is something I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And today we're going to be talking about how to find the best fishing deals. A little bit of preface to on why I wanted to do something like this. So back in college, whenever I was really heavy into fishing, my philosophy was my college schedule was revolving around my fishing schedule. And of course, for fishing and learning artificials, I quickly found, and I'm sure a lot of you have found, that um, fishing is not a cheap hobby. It can be very expensive, and especially if you go into the artificial game where you're buying lures and you're trying new things out. You need to get the rods and the actions and the reels and the gear ratios that all kind of matching up and having different setups. It can get very expensive. So while putting myself through school, one of the things that one of the places I worked at was Academy, Dick's Sporting Goods, and Field and Stream, and also Fishing Tackle Unlimited. So various fishing oriented locations. And from there, that's where I kind of picked up all these little tips and tricks and try to find all these great deals. Um, and joining me today is actually we have a special guest, Max Jaramillo. I'm sorry, I butchered it. We went over it last night, and I completely butchered it. But he's a great guy. I've actually worked with him. He briefly worked. We worked together at Field and Stream. I know he has some retail experience as well. He's a great angler on the water. And we're together. We're going to kind of talk about some of these tips and tricks that we've picked up trying to find all these great deals. So let's give him an introduction. How's it going? um, so I guess
There we go.
there you go. There. So I guess to start, so Max, what is your one of your best finds that you found while out looking for these deals?
I was thinking about it, and I think some of my best finds probably some soft science, the wade boots,
Hmm.
or they're like they're like the kayak boots. Some people use them for wading, although I wouldn't suggest it because they're very soft. But they had those on clearance a couple years ago, and I got them for like $20 at Academy. I mean, along with
Yeah.
numerous rods and reels at the Salesman sample sale over at FTU.
Yep.
Snatched up some really good deals over there. Another one of my favorite ones from Academy was the Mustang. It's the hydrostatic PFD. So instead of like
Hmm.
getting wet like in rain or just maybe like splashing in your kayak, you actually have to be under a certain amount of water for that PFD to go off. So that was, and I got that for I want to say it was $21. It was super cheap, and those are like over 100 PFDs. And then I also
Yeah.
was able to snag another one for a friend because those are hard to come by sometimes. If you say okay, I'll come back for that deal, you come back, it's not
Oh
there.
yeah. Oh yeah. Um, and for me, I have a lot of examples, but for me, one of them was whenever I was working at Academy, I actually found a Shimano Sustain 1000 for with my employee discount. It was ended up being like 20 something dollars, and that's a $250 reel right there.
That's
Um,
awesome.
yeah, and that was a great little reel. And actually, that was one of the reels. That was one of my first like big upgraded reels because at the time when I was learning how to fish, I was using those Shimano Siennas, the Sienna
Mhm.
1000s, the one that was 29.99, and this one costs less than
Yeah,
that.
I
Um,
you told me about those before. Yeah.
yeah, those Shimano Siennas are great starting reels because they'll last you around a season, and then
Mhm.
they're cheap enough where you just kind of throw them away and get another one. But having felt a really good quality reel such as Shimano Sustain, I'm like, I can't go back to to Shimano Sienna. Um, so yeah, so there are definitely deals to be found. And actually, right now, as you know, whenever we are recording at this point, Academy Sports and Outdoors, at least in the Texas area. I'm not sure how it is for other regions. It's currently, they're doing this big clearance sale, and it's a big thing going on right now. But I guess just kind of split this up so we can kind of have these little sections to guide people along. We'll start with we'll go through some tips and tactics for stores, and then we'll go online and then events. Events, we're going to be talking about like the Salesman sample sale or some of the sidewalk sales that some of the other local retailers have. So I guess um, uh, to start out, let's just start with Academy. I mean, that's where everybody loves to shop at Academy for their fishing stuff. Um, you know, I know that we were talking yesterday, and you had some really good strategies and tips that you had. What are you looking for whenever you go to Academy for these all these deals?
Well, it's like we had discussed. Whenever I go, and I know there's like the clearance events, like you said, like they're upwards of 75% off. You go to the back of the store where they normally clump together all the clearance items, whether it's flows, fishing gear, outdoor like pool stuff. At the end of summer, they'll throw all the swimming stuff back there. But for myself, I would go find kind of like the things I'm looking for. Like if I go a lot of top dogs or sheet dogs, if I use this weedless hooks, I'm gonna go where they have a terminal tackle. If I have a favorite soft plastic, I'm gonna go look for those paddle tails I really want to throw all the time. Or if I'm like, okay, I'm running low on fishing line, I'll go that sort of stuff. Obviously, clearance. Most of the people that go to Academy, they know they're looking for yellow tags,
Hmm.
and you just kind of bounce around, look for those yellow tags. A lot of times, if I'm looking for certain deals and they're not there, I'll leave empty-handed, or I'll go and be like, that lure is a pretty cool lure, normally really expensive. Say it's like normally like 750, which is a decent, hard bait type of lure, like a top water or
Hmm.
crankbait. And you're like, okay, it's 750 normal, it's on sale for 250. I don't mind spending 250 to try that bait out and see if I
Yeah.
like it. If not, I can, put it aside and use something I'm more confident in. But definitely, I mean, that's another thing too. Like I said, you go for the stuff that you're used to using a whole lot, those confidence lures, or something you go through a lot of jig heads. We fish shallow marsh a lot. You get hung up in the oyster, you need to replenish those after a while, and you can go and bulk up on some of those jig heads. That's
Yeah.
definitely something I'm looking for.
Yeah, and actually, that brings you brought up a good point in kind of narrowing down your search. Um, One of the common, I think, it's not an issue, but kind of the whenever you go in, you have to have an idea of what you want, like you're saying. For me, I keep things simple, and you can't go out and just look at everything. There's not enough time for you to go out and look at everything. Um, so by understanding what you use a lot of, what like jig heads, like you said, they get stuck and you lose them a lot. Or I'm more of a top water guy. I'm going to look strictly at top waters. Kind of narrow down your focus. And then once you get all the stuff that you want, that's when you can have a little more fun and like, let's check out some of these stuff I never use, and maybe if it's piques my interest a little bit, like a whopper plopper. For us saltwater
Yeah.
guys, we don't really use those kind of baits. But if I find one for $2 instead of like the $15 they usually are, why
Oh
not?
yeah. Yeah.
And so yeah, that's this is a good time to also, like you said, expand upon your fishing horizons, and use these baits that you normally don't use. Um, One of the things I like to do, and you kind of mentioned it early when you were talking, is one of the strategies is you are shopping for next season. Um, so whenever these clearances and sales and all that, whenever they're going on, um, they're especially the end of year clearance events, they're getting rid of the past season's stuff. But so for example, during the beginning of summer, they were
Hmm.
normally have a clearance event, and that's all of their winter stuff they didn't sell during the winter. So
Right.
you're not buying stuff for this upcoming summer. You're buying stuff for next winter. So you're gearing up for next winter,
Yes.
and then whenever winter rolls around, right now it's actually kind of getting from the fall time. They're getting rid of all their summer stuff, which is a lot of the fishing gear, and
Hmm.
you're preparing now for you're getting ready for the next summer's events. And this goes for this mainly applies, even though because fishing's kind of year round. This mainly applies for like apparel and clothing and stuff like that. So um,
For sure. Like I said, I mentioned like swimming and like
mhm.
beach stuff. They'll clearance out the beach chairs. They'll clearance out the some of the camping stuff, coolers where people want to take coolers to the beach, or even I've seen the backyard games. You know, I know it's
Oh
not
yeah,
fishing related, but it's still something that you could go and get for a low price. Like I want to say it's is it Can Jam where they throw their frisbees and
yeah,
like where
yeah,
they
yeah,
bounce the little ball. They have
yeah.
the one where you bounce the ball off the trampoline, all that stuff. You know, it's all summer backyard games. They're gonna go and clearance
Hmm.
that stuff out. Same with barbecue pits. Um, and like I said, like we just moved into this house, and I was telling you about how like I've started looking for stuff for cheap, and then like opened up this whole rabbit hole of these whole deal hunters, you know, and that's another story altogether. But just the amount of things where it's like, oh, definitely in the season, you know, they're gonna drop all this stuff for low prices, and then if you're fast enough, you can score some good deals.
Oh yeah. And actually, for the backyard games, I think we got a couple years ago. We got a cornhole board, a set, Texas A&M branded one, and it was
Hmm.
I think we got it for like $12. So yeah,
That's pretty
and
good.
yeah, that's good. You know, those things usually, because it's branded, usually like 50, 60, $70. Um, but it's during these times that you plan ahead, because the last thing obviously, whenever in the moment, it's the middle of winter and you need layers or jackets. I mean, get them. But if you can plan ahead and during the end of the season clearances, that's when then you can get some of the better gear for at a lower price that you would have bought anyways. So,
Yeah.
um,
I think on one of your posts, you had posted up, you know, saying, "Hey, we're going to have this podcast about deals." Somebody had mentioned that, like at the beginning of summer, at the end of last winter, they had got, I don't remember what it was, something like a jacket or something. They got some winter gear at the beginning of
mhm.
summer, really cheap. They're clearanced out.
Oh yeah, yep. And like I said, it's just all about preparing ahead. Um, Another thing, and I mean, this may have been different for you, working in retail. I'm not saying that I was like a lazy worker, but whenever you go to these, these stores and some of these, these jobs at some academy or Dick's Sporting Goods or whatever, some of these are their first, people's first jobs, and they're still learning the ropes or for whatever reason. Um, you know, some of the stuff is not where they're supposed to be, and that's all stores. You'll find that no matter where you're at Academy, Dick's Sporting Goods, Walmart, wherever. And actually, you can use that to your advantage. Um, so one of the things I like to do, and right now, a lot of the stuff at Academy is kind of picked off because all the yellow tags are very obvious. They're big and yellow. They're designed to catch your eye, and they're just for you to buy. Um, but whenever you get towards the end of these sales, that's when you look for the stuff that's kind of out of place, um,
Hmm.
and it and scan them. And I guess another thing too, um, even though we kind of mentioned that you go in for a specific purpose, but once you start scanning stuff, you'll find that if you scan random things, eventually you'll find a really good deal on products.
Hmm.
Um, in Academy, they actually have a kind of a their system is it's an automated system where at least I think it's automated, where they lower the price if it doesn't sell. So when working at the academy that I was working at, we were just it was a slow day, and we pulled out some rods from the back of like the back of the rack, and they rang up for a penny, like 1 cent. Like, how do
Yeah.
you? Uh,
Do they have that at like where it's like if it's ends in a seven or ends in a three, then you kind
yes,
of know like there's a countdown, 2 later discount again, and 2 later it's going to discount, and then when it reaches, you know, is there, is, like, I've seen that at other stores.
Yeah. So Academy and other stores, they actually have their clearances. I believe ends in a 97. And there's some other variations, but most of them it ends in a 97. So actually, one of the things I do, and that's actually a good point. So whenever you're going and looking at some of these items, um, actually let's just talk about the tag. You go to the aisle, and of course, one of the benefits of fishing for you deal seekers is that there's just so much product. Um, compare the fishing aisle to clothing, where you have socks that take up this much room, whereas you have literally lines of items that take up this much room for fishing. It's you have so much more items in a smaller space that things get moved around. But on the peg, whenever you're looking at the for the academy, the items, one of the things you're looking at is obviously the price. If it ends in a 97, that means it's on clearance. So even if it doesn't have a yellow tag, like you mentioned, it's on clearance.
Yeah.
Denotes that it's a clearance item.
Yeah,
Another thing you
sometimes they're
look.
like, it's like those hidden clearance.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we were talking about the hidden clearances. So if ends in 97, that means it's on clearance. Um, Another thing to look at on these tags is on the bottom right, I believe. It actually has a print date when that tag was created. It'll say 01/21, 01/21. So it was printed in January of 2021. And of course, if it's 01/21 and it's now September, it may have the price may have dropped between now and then. It may not have, but
Right.
it may have. Um, and the other thing to look at is if you find an item, let's say you find a clearance item, and you're trying to figure out, okay, this item's on clearance. Let me see if I can find the similar item or the same item that may be scattered around. The easiest way to do it is just look at the SKU number, which is the barcode. It's
Hmm.
on the back, or wherever the barcode is, and just look at the last two digits. It'll be like whatever it's these two digits, so like a 0151, whatever it is, and that gives you an easy indicator, so you can start turning product over. Okay, that's a 06. That's not it. That's a 85. That's not it. Okay, here's a 51 that I'm looking for. That is put on a random shelf that looks. Um, so those are kind of the things that 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 we're looking for. And actually, Drew, he asked a good question. What time of
Hmm.
year does Academy do the half off already clearance items? I think they do it around 3 times. Is that sound about right?
I know they just had one where it was half off clearance items, and some of the stuff was like 75% off. It was like
Hmm.
crazy cheap. That
Yeah.
just happened here at the end of August and September. And then I want to say they have another one in February.
Hmm.
I mean, those are like the two big, like, and then I want to say, I don't know, I feel like that's it. February, March, and then at the end of summer. And I mean, at the end of most major seasons, like, so it's like
Hmm.
spring and summer, and then fall/winter,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. I think it's either two or there may be a third one, and I'm not, but it's definitely usually around the those like you said, end of season kind of deals. Um, oh yeah, and this goes for all items. This isn't just fishing items, of course. Um, one year I remember there's a lot of kayaks that went on clearance, and people were finding like Perception Pescador for like $100.
Oh yeah,
Uh, oh
I
yeah,
remember that. That was,
Drew, yeah, Drew's pointing out
no,
right here. He got one for Ocean Prowler 13 for $175. Actually, yeah, for those of you in the chat, if you have, what are some of your best finds, and any strategies that you want to share, feel free to put them in there, and we'll share them with everybody. And of course, if you don't want it to be shared, don't put it in there. So, um,
yeah, just private message us.
yeah, just private message us, and we'll take care of that. Um, so and actually, let's kind of switch over to like Field and Stream. We both work there. Some of the
Hmm.
same strategies applied. For
Strategies.
there, I believe the clearance is not 97. It's it's like an 80 cent ending or something like that. It's like
Yeah, I
81
don't.
to 89.
Yeah, I don't remember. I was just in there, like we were talking about with the buy five get five free,
Hmm.
and they have like certain racks where they're highlighted items, but then you can go along all the other aisles, and then you can find those same things. And I think at Field and Stream over there, you're looking for the tags with the red solid background versus the normal tags have like a black background behind the price. So
Hmm.
it's like you can pinpoint them with the red tags, and then you
Yeah,
can find ones on the aisle that they don't have on the little I don't know what to call them, the little standalones with the
yeah,
the pegs on them,
yeah,
like the four siders. Yeah,
yeah. And again, that's definitely an option. It's they have they have clearance events, but their big one is the buy five get five.
yeah,
Where basically that means it's half off. Um, the kind of the downside to finding stuff at Field and Stream is that they don't have readily available. At least the ones that are here in Houston that I've seen, they don't have readily available scanners. You have to
yeah.
find
They took
somebody.
them out.
Yeah, they don't have those. You have to find somebody with a little scan gun, and they'll tell you the price. Um, and I'll kind of jump a little bit back towards Academy. Another thing that you do is if you have absolutely all the time in the world and you just want to find the absolutely the best deal, just scan everything.
Hmm.
You'll find stuff on the clearance rack that will say that it's 297, and then you scan it, it's $1.
Oh
Or
yeah,
you'll find something that says it's $100 full price, and you scan it, and for some reason it's $25 or something like that. Um, so yeah, if you have all the time in the world, you can definitely do that. But like I said earlier, you want to limit yourself because time is money, and I don't know if you, I guess some people could, but I don't want to spend 2-3 hours at Academy just scanning stuff.
yeah.
Um, but at Field and
And
Stream,
then
they don't have. Go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say another thing. Like I noticed not too long ago that one lady angler Danielle K. I don't want to try and say her last name because I'll
Oh,
murder it. But Danielle K. She was posting up. She found she was looking for some fin spray, like some wind tamer, and then a few other
hmm.
things like DOA shrimp. And she posted up one day where she managed to get some 40 pound. She was looking for 30 pound, and then she went the next day and posted another photo. And there's like obviously she had a day off or something, so she was able to go to like 4 or 5 other stores. I messaged her. I was like, hey, what stores did you go to? Did you clear out the pegs so I know what stores not to go to? And she's like, well, I went to this store, this store, is like 4 or 5 stores. I'm like, well, that's also a way to do it too. If you know those items are on sale, you can hit
Hmm.
up some of those academies that are farther away from the coast where there's going to be less attention on those items. Like
Oh yeah.
for us, like saltwater anglers, we could probably go to the north side of town and go hit up some of those academies and get saltwater lures that those people that are fishing like Lake Conroe, Lake Houston, those are all freshwater guys. They're not going to touch that saltwater stuff unless they're the guys that spend 2 hours to drive down to the coast. That's
Yeah.
also a good strategy too. Just like go to a lot of stores and get little bits of those clearance items, and then it ends up saving you a whole lot of money. Now you pay for gas and tolls, but that's
Yeah.
that's up to you if you want to do that.
Oh yeah.
But I mean,
Uh,
there's something to be said because she straight up like,
oh, looks like we lost Max here for a second. But yeah, to kind of continue his thought, um, one of the things that get a good group, like join all these fishing groups, and if you see these things happening, like somebody reports, like I don't go to Academy that often right now, but somebody reported, oh, the clearance sale is going on. Um, and some people will post what they've got. Like Danielle, she posts a lot of the fins. You can see that she got the fins, and while it may not be on clearance at the store that you go to, you have a target now that you can look for. I can go to the store and I'm going to go specifically scan for the fins or these jig heads or whatever. That'll give you a target. I'm not sure why this is, but each store is a little bit different in terms of their clearance, and I guess they kind of set it to for margin reasons. Um, I guess another tactic that you can do that I did while I was Academy, make friends with the people at Academy. I know a lot of people, Nicholas, who currently works at FTU. He helped a lot of people find all the gear that they need. And I did the same thing when I was academy, where if you ask, hey, I'm looking for XYZ item, the people in the fishing and hunting area, they have access they can tell you where all of the items are at every single store. Store this has this many, etc. Um, and just make friends with them, talk to them, and if you're nice to them, maybe they'll help you out. So yeah, sorry we lost you there for a second, Max.
Yeah, yeah. I messaged you earlier. It's the internet been like spotty today. I'm
Yeah,
lucky it came back on. It wasn't supposed to come back on until like 8 o'clock. So
yeah, yeah. I was just talking that one of the tactics, kind of piggybacking off what, like you were talking about Danielle, make friends with the people at Academy. Um, because if you talk to them, and especially the people in the hunting and fishing area, um, and like I'm looking this for specifically this item that I know it's on clearance, they can tell you which stores have those items. Um,
oh yeah,
yeah, but you got to be nice to them. Just make sure you're nice to them, because I know a lot of retail people put up with a lot of stuff. So
yeah. Definitely one of those. It's about who you know little situations.
yes, I was mentioning that like Nicholas Gibson, who was over at FTU, he helped a lot of
Hmm.
people while he was at Academy, and of course he's still helping people now that he's at FTU. But that is definitely get to know people. Um, so I guess another place that we should mention um, is outlet malls, like for example the Tanger outlet malls over in Texas City.
Hmm.
Um, they have like a Columbia outlet there, and you can find some dirt cheap items, and following the same rules as planning ahead for next season. They'll have their clearance times roughly around the same times that they're getting rid of their winter stuff because now it's becoming summer, etc. Um, but going to outlet malls, if you have one in your area, is always a good way to stock up on clothing, especially with specialty retailers such as Columbia, or for Merriel for boots, um, and other places. Is that something that you would recommend as well?
Uh, absolutely. I think you had mentioned, you know, one thing-
It looks like Max here is still having those internet issues. Um, yeah, we'll come back to that. Um, I guess for right now, let's actually move towards kind of the uh, the online kind of um, area. So obviously, there's so much things online that you can find. You can go to your favorite retailers. Sometimes they have those clearance sections on their website, um, or you just have so many. With the advent of Amazon, you can find basically anything or everything on online. Welcome back, Mac.
Oh, I'm gonna move locations closer to my router. It's
All right.
just if you want to put me backstage for a minute.
Yeah. Sorry about that. Some internet issues. So yeah, so online it has you have all these opportunities online, but how do you kind of weave through that clutter? Um, and so one of the ways to do it is if you go to Google, and I mean this seems really obvious, but for sometimes people don't know. This works especially well on for clothing like Sims and Columbia. You go online to Google and you type in whatever you want, such as Sims waiters, and they actually have a shopping tab on there, and you click on that tab, and you can actually organize it by price from lowest to highest. Now, there are probably hundreds of Sims retailers out there, um, and some of them are whatever their situation is in. Sometimes they have sales, sometimes they don't. But if they post a price online, the the Google whatever you type it in, it will pick it up. So for example, I like these Solar Flex shirts. They're normally like $60. Um, so you type in Sim Solar Flex, go to the shopping tab, go organize from highest to lowest, and you'll find like some random store like Sierra Post Trading Post or something like that. Online, they have these Sim Solar Flex shirts for like $20, and that's what you can stock up. It doesn't work as well for like fishing items, but it is something that you could potentially do for clothing and waiters, because I've also seen that for waiters. Um, let's see. Trying to get a. Have you ever lost a deal at Academy because the cashier recognized it's too good of a deal? No. That's a question from Austin. Um, I have not seen that. It's they're they're not allowed to do that. I would complain if it rings up as something on a scanner, and they don't allow you to buy it. I would probably complain. Um, so, um, but let's see. I think David is Max is back here.
Yeah.
Buddy. Yeah. So we were
Different like
just talking.
fishing.
Oh yeah, we were just talking about like kind of the Google Shopping where you can do the kind of organize it by lowest to highest. And I think that you yesterday you mentioned a website that you use for some online deals that like
Yes.
stuff like
Steep and cheap.
Steep and Cheap.
Steep and cheap and backcountry.com. They're part of the same like company,
Hmm.
and you can find pretty good deals. I've personally pointed people there for sunglasses. People are like, hey, I want to get some cheap sunglasses. I don't want to spend a lot on these Costas. I'm like, go to Steep and Cheap, and then you can find Costas, Smiths. What else do they have? I mean,
They have
some
Sims.
most of the major brands, they do have Sims there,
Hmm.
yes. And then also I mentioned they had Yakima products where,
Hmm.
if you need a car rack, which they're notoriously expensive, and you can get a pretty steep discount, steep and cheap.
Yeah.
And I've also seen it's a company off of kind of it's to be its own thing, but now it's based through Amazon, but it's woot.com, woot.com. And
Oh,
if you go to their sports and outdoor section, you can find stuff from like tactical gear to like camping gear, bikes, random stuff. And sometimes they'll have Costa Del Mar glasses in there. They'll have Ray Bans. Mostly, I'm just like looking at the Costa deals. Although I'm pretty good on sunglasses. I have more than enough pairs to last me.
yeah.
So, but
Yeah.
I definitely try to like, hey, I'll tell my friends. I'm like, hey, look, there's a deal. Go check it out.
Oh yeah, yeah. There's definitely plenty of options online to find for these kind of these deals. Steep and Cheap, like you mentioned, the way they work is that they have like one deal at a time until they run out. So they'll have like, for example, Costa sunglasses, XYZ model comes out, and you have 15 minutes, and they have like three of them available. Um, and they actually have. Say again.
Oh, I was saying, yeah, like I agree. Or they'll
Yeah.
have just a certain amount of sizes
Oh yeah.
where it's like you have like extra small, small, large, extra large. And
Yeah.
it's like if you're looking for medium, you're out of luck.
Yeah.
They'll have those items that they didn't sell enough of these extra larges, so they have all this surplus and they're just trying to get rid of it.
Oh yeah. Yep. Um, Another thing to kind of look for is I was mentioning earlier to go to your favorite retailer. For example, I use a lot of Bass Assassins or Saltwater Assassins, either one, and they have some great areas on there. They have a bargain bin, and this goes for any retailer. So whatever your favorite one, go there. They may have a clearance section on there, and you can save a lot of money through there. Um, so, for example, I have this is Bass Assassin in Space Guppy. They're straight tails. This is a bulk pack of like 101. Um, and normally a pack of like 5 or 6, it costs like what, like four something at Academy. This one in tandem with their Cyber Monday sale, this bulk pass cost me about $5. So
Dang.
yeah. Um, and and that goes for any of the other retailers. And I guess we should kind of talk about some of these these kind of event sales, such as like Cyber Monday. Um, just kind of
or
on
Black
Cyber
Friday.
Monday, Black Friday, yeah, yeah. Just go online and on these days, or look ahead because a lot of the good stuff they get taken up pretty quick. Um, and and just kind of peruse it and plan ahead. Okay, I know that for this company right here, they're going to give you know 35%. Do I really want to get that? And then just plan that way that you know that okay, the deal is active. I'm gonna buy it at this point. So um, one of the other places that you can find these deals are the events that we were talking about earlier. So one of the things, actually, I should kind of also preface this. I understand that we like finding deals, uh, but at the same time, we should also be supporting our local, fishing retailers and the small mom and pop shops. Um, Unfortunately, because most of these mom and pop shops are, they're mom and pops, they're small. They don't have the buying power as what you would say an Academy or um, or like a Walmart.
Yeah.
Um, and because of that, sometimes they are expensive. But the trade off is that these mom and pop shops they provide a sense of community that some of the bigger stores can't. So definitely, I do want to kind of be the counter to finding all the deals. Definitely go to your mom and pop shops. Find the ones that you like. There, there's Fishing Tackle Unlimited. You have the Anglers Anonymous, Serious Tackle. Am I missing any? I know there's plenty of
I had
them.
mentioned Orvis, Houston. They're a
Hmm.
big. They're. I mean, Orvis is a big name in fly fishing. We have Bayou Coast Anglers. Down south, you got Roy's, Fin Factory, Tackle Town. I'm sure there's some in Matagorda, but I've never fished down in Matagorda. I think I've heard of, like, I've driven by Matagorda Outfitters. I don't know what kind of like fishing gear they sell there,
Hmm.
but yeah,
Yeah,
you pretty much
and
touched on most
Stacy
of
had
those.
mentioned Adventure Sports and Outdoors. That's out in Bayou Vista. Um,
Yeah, Christopher
and
Burr.
yeah, and they have what I believe as K2 Outfitters over. That's over on the west end. Um,
K2.
I believe it's
Oh, yes,
K2.
over by like
Yeah,
Jamaica Beach. I know
yeah,
you're
yeah,
talking
yeah,
about,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. And
Yes.
there's all these small small mom and pop shops that um, the reason why I love going to those shops is because they have the stuff that you can't get anywhere else, such as those
Yeah.
custom corkies that are like $15.
Yes. Yeah, I think we talked about those with Anglers Anonymous. Like they
Yeah.
have a lot of those uh, coastal marsh
Hmm.
customs, where it's
Oh
like
yeah.
the cotton candy, and then they also have, like, not only is it just the corkies, but they'll get the down south lures that are custom painted as well.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're part of the coastal marsh part of that, I'd love to talk to y'all because that is some amazing work. I mean, especially those custom Corky soft irons, the XLs. Ooh, they look really, really nice.
Yeah, but on that note, we should probably mention that sometimes some of these really pop-in looking colors are meant to catch fishermen and not really catch fish. I mean, yes, do they work? But most of the time it's like, oh, wow, that's a unique one-off color. I want to buy it. I'll spend my 15 to $20 on that corky
Mhm.
when they might just sit in a tackle box. Like, honestly, I have some corkies sitting in a tackle box. I should probably sell because I don't ever use them. I revert back to like what I use most. I was like, at the time I was like, man, that's a really awesome color. Everybody's buying these. I'm gonna buy some too. And they do nothing, you know?
Yeah.
Or I mean, you see that a lot in like nothing is like bass fishermen, but like I used to fish for bass all the time, and I'm like, I gotta have like X, Y, and Z colors in a square bill. Let me go buy all these, square bills, and I have like freaking 10 different colors when I just go to like one color, and then I realize it's not really the color, it's the action of, square bill, this straight tail, this paddle tail, or like a top water. It's like just like the action, the color doesn't really matter. Those fish, I mean, are they really, yeah, there's that argument of like, do they see colors? Really, it might just be the action. And I don't know that, like I said, that's sometimes it's just meant to catch the fisherman.
Yeah. The fish don't care. The lure is in the color of a cotton candy, you know?
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, actually, we were talking yesterday, and even though I know this because I've seen them, but it just baffles me that like some people pay like $300 for those bass swim baits. Um,
Yeah.
and I know we're going off on a tangent, but that's just like fascinating to me that people pay that much for a fishing lure, and they use it. I mean,
Hmm.
I already have a
And you
hard
have to
enough
think about,
time.
I was
I
gonna
was
say,
gonna
like, you
say,
have to think about what else they're throwing with, like, just to throw that big old wooden swim bait. You have to have
mhm.
like an extra heavy rod. You have to have,
Oh yeah,
like a heavy Super Duty reel, and you're throwing it on like 65 plus pound braid. Or actually, do they use braid? Do they use fluoro? I don't even know because I don't
I
throw
don't
those
know.
big swim baits.
Yeah.
But that's still another chunk of change that you're throwing down just to throw this big swim bait. But big risk, big reward. Sometimes they catch huge bass out of those reservoirs, like you see that like in California. They have those
Oh
huge
yeah,
reservoirs. They get those fish that are feeding on. A lot of times they're what's that
rainbow
called?
trout.
Rainbow trout. Yes, rainbow trout.
Yeah,
So they're huge, and they, like, they have that glide, and yes, it's a lot of money, but we also talked about those people put in the time to shape those lures. They probably have a swim tank where they have to test them all out. They have to airbrush them, make sure everything's all well balanced. It does take a lot of work, like
mhm,
individualized work for each lure. So you're paying for that craftsmanship, you know. So, but
yeah,
yes, that's still a lot of money.
yeah. No, I mean, I understand it, but it's just for me, I can't can't wrap my mind around it. I mean, a little part of me dies inside whenever one of my fat boys just goes out and never comes back, you know? So, um, but, uh some of these mom and pop shops, they have all this kind of these customs, these stuff that you normally can't get at the academies and Walmarts. Where the academies and Walmarts, they kind of cater to the masses, whereas I would go to like Fishing Tackle Limited or Serious Tackle for some my offshore stuff if I ever need it, um, or like these marsh customs, the coastal marsh lures. Go to any of these smaller shops that they'll have it, and just find a mom and pop shop that you like. Make friends with that with the owners. They're there to because they love fishing and they want to help you. And kind of set your roots there. That's why like so many people were upset when Marburgers closed. You know,
Oh yeah.
yeah, people that thing was an establishment and people had set roots there. Whenever they were kids and that was their tackle shop that they went to. So whenever you find these tackle shops, go in there, say hi to the owners or whoever's there, make friends with them, and kind of like if that's the place that vibes with you, just make it your own. Go to that and become their patron and support them. But at the same time, if you ever need to look for stuff, these are the tactics that you follow. So, um, one of the big things that we do that like for example, Fishing Tackle Unlimited and you mentioned Serious Tackle, they have these events, these huge events that brings kind of not only the community together, but also where you can find some great deals. I think the biggest example would be the Salesman sample sale at Fishing Tackle Unlimited. And for those of you who don't know, Fishing Tackle Unlimited is one of our local retailers here in the Houston area. They have like 3 locations here. Um, their stores are very large and they're all dedicated to fishing. And around it's the springtime, right? Yeah, around the springtime they have
I want to say it's in April, most of the time,
yeah,
April.
yeah, it's in around April. You have these what they call the salesman sample sale, where they bring in vendors from all across the industry, put them under a tent, and they kind of get rid of inventory. And it's literally getting rid of inventory. Um, uh, get there early. That's like the only thing that I can say is just get there early. Um, if you get there whenever, like let's say, I believe usually it's a Friday through Saturday thing, um,
Hmm.
and And if you get there on Friday, like they usually open around 9 o'clock. If you get there Friday at 9 o'clock, you're probably already too late for some of the good deals. There will be
Yeah,
a
you're gonna be at
line.
the back of the line that's wrapped around the parking lot.
Oh yeah, but I can tell you it's worth it. Um, like I think you were saying that you had a Shimano reel that you were looking at.
Yes,
One time that you were there.
it was the SLX DC. It was on sale for a ridiculous price. And I later on regret it because I was like, man, do I want to get it? I'm not trying to spend a lot of money today. Like first off, let me say, when I first started going to the Salesman sample sale, like I could easily spend close to $200. Now I usually set a cap. I'm like, I'm not going to spend over $100. I've been to this for this many years. I since I've been to it for so many years, I kind of know the flow of it. I'm looking for, certain things, and I I don't want to like load down my basket with all these other things. I know exactly what I'm going in for, like any other deal thing, or like I'm looking for something new. And but yeah, I mean, you go there and you are looking for. Oh, sorry. Uh, Oh, sorry. Just like seeing all these deals for different shoes and rods,
Mhm.
and when you're first going there, there's so much. You're kind of inundated with all these different deals, and then uh, you could easily spend a lot of money. I mean, now I go in and I'm looking for this hat, or they have they. I was gonna say, like, it's not just like local vendors. They have brand reps. Like they have Shimano
Mhm.
people. They have
Yep.
Costa people. I think at the last one they had, or they'll have like Castaway rods. They'll have last time they had Old 18. They have people who have been guiding for a while, and they have this inventory. Like you said, they have a bunch of inventory that's probably in the storage unit, and they're just trying to clear it all out. And them making money also brings in some clientele for FTU, which makes FTU money. So everybody wins in the long run. You got
Yep.
vendors making money, you're getting awesome deals, and then FTU's getting more exposure.
Oh yeah. Um, yeah. So like my best find there was actually my rod case that I have now in my garage. Is a Shimano rod case, where it's a display case, I should say. And they normally have it on the floor. That's where they sell their Shimano rods. They For some reason it was like slightly broken. Um, and they sold it for like $30. And it now looks really really nice up in the up on my in my garage, just displaying my rods. Um, so a lot of the people actually in our comments right now, which by the way, if you ever want to join us and see when we go live, you can visit us at facebook.com/, one last cast podcast, and join us live and ask questions and just participate in our community. Um, One of the other ways that you can find these deals, and that we have, and these are all over the United States and all over the world, kind of like these fishing shows. So in Houston, we have a couple of those major ones. So we have like our fishing show, we have the boat show, and recently, I it started recently, either last year or the year before. We have the fishing expo, um, very similar to what we were just talking about with the FTU Salesman sample sale. uh, these shows, these big expos, they have all these vendors come in, from and you can go there and they have products. Usually, a lot of them they have what they really cool. They have brand new products, um, like the stuff that just came out, the brand new models of Shimano, the brand new Luz, the brand new 18 rods or whatever you have. Um, Max is back. So um, yeah, so we're just talking about some of these new, that, like, for example, the fishing expo. That's a new thing that came out. Um, go to those, and the best way to get the deals at those locations is get there early, because they whenever they have stuff, they'll have like some of the really good stuff. You won't be there in the middle of the show. And then also, go towards the end of the show. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to try and get rid of their inventory so they don't have to like pack it up and leave with it. So they're going to start dropping deals.
Yeah. So actually, I believe in 2018, I was actually working at the boat show. I was working for a marketing company. We're doing marketing for the boat show, and I was there. And while I was there, I went to like um, the K2 booth. Which one is it? There's another retailer. That's another fishing shop that's out there. But um, Bad Marine. It was Bad Marine. There you go. Um,
Oh yeah, I mean, they used to be around, but they're not around anymore. I think they still have an online shop, and I know they
yeah,
still
they.
make like naughty hooker lures,
Mhm.
not lures, the jig head still.
Yeah, yeah, um, yeah. So I was at there as I was at the boat show, and they were there, and they had a bargain bin, and I know that the boat show started like on a Thursday, just the middle of the week, and I was just walking around, doing my job, and I saw them, and they were setting up their clearance bin, and I got first pick at all the stuff because there was nobody at the boat show yet, because it just opened up on a
Hmm.
Thursday. So, and I found a bunch of stuff, and I kind of picked out what I wanted. And then at the end of the show, because I was still there at the end of the show whenever they ended, um, I was they had still had a bunch of stuff, and I got a deal for all the remaining stuff. Um, So yeah, so all these shows they have these vendors that you can find, and again, they have the big vendors, but also they have these small mom and pop ones that just talk to them, get to know them. They all have their story, um, and just that's kind of how we choose like what products that we like. And I'm sure that you're the same. That some of the products, the people who are behind them, they have these amazing story, like Heath's story for Bugs Lures.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Hmm.
he kind of just he kind of combined his love for like the fly realm and the conventional fishing and made the Bugs Lures, and how he, you know, I remember the post where he's like how it all started, and kind of he had to believe that he can keep doing this, and eventually it is what it is now, which is a very successful
Right.
lure company.
Yeah. Where like I distinctly remember meeting him one of my first years of fishing. This was 2013, I want to say,
Mhm.
and he had like a little, just like a little corner of a booth of a major vendor, and he's doing these deals for this many bugs, and I'm like, oh, I've never seen these before. Really cool concept. This was, like I said, this was when I first started fishing, so I was doing more bass fishing at the time, and I had dabbled in a little bit of fly fishing for bass. I was like, that's really cool. Let me try that out. And the next year when I went to the Houston Fishing Show, he remembered me by name. And that's one thing too. Like you make these connections with people, and like you said, you talk to the people, get to know them. They also get to know you. And the fact that like you have a vendor who remembers you a year later, that like you feel more drawn to like come back and buy more stuff from that person because they make you feel special because it's that I don't know, just make that good, strong connection. They're like, hey, you said you like to fish like this. How's it going? Are my lures working? I have these new things this year. Let's try these out. You want to try these out? And like, oh yeah, totally. And you keep on, giving them like your patronage, and then that keeps them alive. And then, like you said, like they start off from some small, and now he doesn't have like a little corner booth. He's got like, 4 booths worth, and he has a lot more help, and he's gotten a lot more attention. And when you had talked about earlier about like certain specialty like local shops carry specialty items for some time, FTU was like the only people that had bugs lures, or you had to order online. So if I ever needed bugs and I didn't have time to like order online and sit and wait, I would go to FTU. Although these days, the racks are always empty because it's such a popular lure these days.
Yep.
You have to like go and be like, I'd be like, hey, dude, Gulf Freeway is looking a little bare. He's like, yeah, I know. I'm waiting on materials. We'll get some stuff down there as soon as possible.
Yep.
And that's another thing too. Like you can message any of these people, like some of the like Chicken Boy. You can probably message Chicken Boy and he'll reply back to you. It's not
Yeah.
like everybody knows what Chicken Boy lures are. He's there. These guys are not above saying, hey, they'll get back to you quickly in a message. Oh, you got a problem with this? we'll handle that. Or if you give them praise, be like, hey, appreciate it, or even on Instagram, you tag some people and they're like, hey, we appreciate the tag, keep using our lures. We look forward to seeing more stuff from you.
Yep. Yep.
Like back
And
to the expos and stuff. Like, I want to mention this past year, like thinking about Chicken Boy, it reminded me, but they had the Got Fish Expo, the Galveston County outdoor, I'm sure they had it at the county fairgrounds over by Jack Brooks Park, and that was a product of, the fishing show was shut down. You couldn't have indoor events with large groups of people, so you have people like Hunter from Fish Sticks and Joe from Chicken Boy. They get all these vendors involved. They say, hey, look, you know what? We can't put it on these other sites. Let's make this happen. And they bring in all those local vendors, and they get that exposure. You get to go and check out some cool new lures. You get to get those deals where it's like 5 packs for $20, or they have deals on rods like H&H would be there, or Laguna Customs, or they even have like hunting gear and stuff like that. So they have like side by sides. I think I
yeah.
saw some construction equipment out there. They had some like like some farm equipment. I'm not like big into that, so I just remember seeing there's like some big equipment. They also have boat companies out there. So it's like you want to go check out this shallow sport, or I think at the time Hoodoo was starting to take off as far as a kayak company goes. And then you have Christopher Burr, who was selling Hoodoo kayaks. So they had a big display out there, along with a couple other like different people. And then like you have Monster Fish in that apparel line. They were there. They had like the whole thing going on. So again, these are all local fishing companies here in the Galveston, Houston area that I'm talking about. And many people here in the Galveston area, we already know who they are. And we see their stuff online. We see it on Facebook. We know Michael with Monster Fishing. He hooked up with Academy. He had a couple commercials with them too. So where he brought some exposure to some offshore fishing stuff that he does. But I thought that was really cool. Like just saying, hey, look, there's this need for these anglers. They're used to having a fishing show. We can't do it here. Let's make it happen somewhere else. And I'm pretty sure a lot of vendors and a lot of anglers, they appreciated that. And I think we had talked about it before. So many people were like, you're in quarantine or you're shut down for this amount of time. You can't go to work. So there's an uptick in hobbies going kayaking. There was a time whenever we couldn't find kayaks. Like they're just now getting where they're more back in stock. And there's still like a supply chain strain where it's like you have to wait 2+ weeks to get anything in. And and you sometimes like there's a lot of stress on the stores to be like, hey, where's my product? And it's like, I can't do anything about it. It's everything that's going on with COVID. Like it's getting better, but it's still a little bit lacking. But I mean, like I said, all those people, they picked up kayak fishing. I saw a lot of like mountain bike stuff going on. People are going out and frisbee golf, pickleball. Like people are trying to go out and do things because they don't want to be cooped up inside their house. So I mean, it's a positive. But yeah, definitely appreciate those guys for putting on that.
Oh yeah, and I think Stacy was mentioning that the Galveston Fishing Expo is going to happen again this December. So if you're interested in that, just go online and look up the Got Fish Expo on Facebook, and I'm sure you can find information on that. But just to kind of piggyback off what you were saying, obviously our topic today was about deals, but it goes a little bit deeper than that. We want to, I mean, fishing is an expensive hobby, and most hobbies are expensive anyways. But at the same time, we don't want to lose sight of what makes this sport and hobby great is the people. Like you and mention all these vendors are out there. They all love, or they should they should love what they do. Whoever designs those shallow sports, they want the reason why the shallow sport design came to be is because they wanted to get develop a not only in a superior boat but also to go deep into the marsh that way that they can find those redfish, or these rod companies like the uh like Castaway or whoever, they're making these rods so that they feel like they can make a better rod for this specific application, such as trout or whatever. Um, and all of these, or at least most of them, they have humble beginnings, and it's all about getting to know the people and supporting them as they set off to do whatever they want to do. So, as Aaron on our chat here is saying, support local, and if find a business that you like, and I mean, if okay, hopefully they get so successful that they can give these deals, but
Yeah,
just support them. I think if these small businesses, if they end up giving deals, um, they're either doing really well or they're not, or they're about to go out of business. So one of the two
yeah,
things. um,
yeah.
so yeah, a lot of y'all guys on the chat right now. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask it. Um, I guess before we kind of close up. Um, oh yeah,
Can I mention
you were
something
talking.
really quick?
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Drew messaged me, Drew Turner.
Uh huh.
You probably know him from the Powers Playbook. He
Yep.
messaged me. He's like, "Hey, just want to mention how during the winter season is some of the best times to pick up kayak deals, like used kayak deals." And I think we had
Oh
talked
yeah.
about that before, where it's like ICAST happens in the summertime, and then you
Mm-hmm.
also have Outdoor Retailer where they premiere the new kayaks, they premiere new boat electronics, new fishing rods, new fishing reels, everything that's going to be dropping for the new year. So a lot of people offload their old kayaks. They'll sell it during the wintertime. And plus, though it doesn't get too cold here in Texas, where we are up in the north, they put away their kayaks for winter. And
Oh yeah.
sometimes they might be like, I don't want to put away my kayak. Let's just sell it. I'll pick up a new one whenever the ice thaws or whatever. So definitely wintertime is a good time to pick up a new or used kayak because they're going to be selling off last year's stock as the new models come in between October and January. So
Yep.
thanks Drew for mentioning that. I just want to just bring that up.
Yep. And also, um, I mean, I
I
wish
think we
I
talked
could.
about rentals and demos
Yeah,
and
so
how
they
some of
usually,
the
yeah, in
stores.
October. Yeah, usually around October, that's when those rentals and demos they go on sale. But of course, it depends on the whichever retailer. But again, make friends with your local kayak retailers, and if they have a demo fleet. And around that time, whenever, usually it's around when they get their new fleet of demos in, a new fleet of rentals in, um, and just kind of kindly ask when are they going on sale, and you can find that out. But I was just about to comment. I wish I could just be like, I don't feel like putting up my kayak for winter. I'm just gonna sell it so I can get a new one next year. I wish I could do that.
I mean, those people, they might just have jobs that afford them that ability, or they're
Yeah.
just like I mean, some people like that. They're like, nah, that's last year's technology. Let me buy something new. I mean,
Mhm.
I see it all the time. People like that new hot reel's out. I'm gonna sell off these old ones, and I'm gonna be that, get that newest reel.
Yep.
You know.
It's like some people lease cars because they can get a new one every few years. Um,
Hmm.
but let's see. And I think we were talking about it yesterday, but we forgot about the igloo sale.
Oh yeah. So that was like a bonus thing. I was gonna mention. It does have to do with outdoors. Uh, every year, the Igloo factory out in Katy, Texas. I'm sure some of you guys have driven by it on I-10 when you're going towards like San Antonio. But
Mhm.
they usually have a sale where you can go to the factory and get, a plethora. I've never been there because we had talked about this. Like most of the time, I find out about it and it's
Too
the couple
late.
days after it happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to give a heads up that fall blowout sale. It's going to be October 14th and 15th, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. That's probably another thing where you're going to want to show up early and,
Yeah.
and get in line and be there because they have. I mean, Igloo. It's a well-known brand, and we're lucky enough to have them not too far away from us. And you can go with those large rotomolded coolers that are comparable to a Yeti for a quarter of the price. I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you guys in the chat have ever been out to the Igloo sale, y'all feel free to comment because I've only seen like, hey, I snagged this deal and this and this and this, and people are like, hey, do you think there's any left? And like, no.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So I hope that I know we were kind of a little bit all over the place towards the end, but I hope you guys kind of learned something. I know there are other techniques that we could probably talk about for like the going to academy and all that, and how other people look for these items. Um, but you know, again, I actually like the way that we ended up talking about with the small businesses and these local vendors. Balance out what we are. I think it's good to balance out between looking for deals and supporting local. Um,
For sure.
and of course, we're kind of mainly talking about within our local Galveston and Houston community. But for wherever you're listening and wherever you are, um, it's all about fostering your fishing community that you have at home and giving that kind of blend where it's okay to go and buy stuff at Academy at your local big box store. Um, but support local, develop your community, and grow it. So that way that you actually have a community that you can pass on to others. And because personally, I think our community is the best community, but what do I know? So,
Yeah. I
um,
mean, just the anglers in Galveston, there are so many, and everybody has their own favorite spots. I mean, we are quite blessed. I think about it sometimes and like just think about how big Galveston Bay is. You have people from West Bay all the way down there by San Luis Pass, all the way up to Oliver, and then up into the Trinity River water system. It encompasses a huge area. We have a really large community, and like you said, it's only going to get better as we grow it, as we put some positive things out there to make sure that our fishing community thrives. It keeps on growing and it doesn't just go away. I don't think it'll ever go away, but just keep on making sure it's a positive experience for everybody. I mean, somebody's kids are growing up right now learning how to fish, and then their kids are going to learn how to grow and fish too.
exactly. Alrighty. So if you guys want to join us anytime that we are live, feel free to join us at facebook.com/one last cast podcast. Also, you can find us online on your favorite podcasting platform. And before we go, I definitely want to give a shout out to some of our sponsors on this podcast. They've done great stuff for us. One of them is 4A Printing. They do a lot of our printing for our custom towels that we have. Um, and uh, also, Aaron does great work, and I think he does other stuff too besides towels. So just feel free to search him on 4A Printing, uh, give him a call, and see what he can do for you. Also, if you're looking for a good community for kayaking within the Houston Galveston area, Dirty South Kayak Anglers, DSKA, they go on there, and you can learn a lot from them. Just it's as any community, there's some good things and bad things. um, and I also, you're talking about Drew Turner messaging you. He was on our show, like episode 3 or 4. He has his own rod company, Drew Turner Rod Company. He does some great stuff on there. So definitely support local. And I guess, Max, you have any last words that you want to share with us?
No, I just appreciate being on here, sharing some of my knowledge with everybody else, and I hope you guys can get out there and snag some good deals. Makes you wake up early and get there quick.
Some good final parting advice. All right, guys. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.